On today's Sprint Ride Option podcast, the 49ers fall again to the Arizona Cardinals in a collapse of massive proportions. We'll talk about it all starting right now. Sounds good.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option podcast. And we are live. It is a new episode of the Sprint Ride Option podcast. Let me get more centered here in my box. I am Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by Jason Aponte. He's pretty excited right now as Yankees in a playoff game. And a lot of energy, a lot of momentum. I'm here to bring it down a little bit, talk 49ers football. Jason, how you doing on this playoff Monday, though?
I'm doing all right. The weekend was really good. I went to a concert on Saturday. I saw Kate Renata, and It's an artist that I've been waiting to see for a long time. I had a blast. I thought everything was rolling into the weekend. And then the 49ers rudely, ruined my weekend, for all intents and purposes, but we move. And the good news is we have a chance to flush this absolutely shitty performance because there's a new game on Thursday. So thank the schedule makers a little bit.
Yeah, and in Thursday Night Football could not think of a better advertisement for their Thursday night game this week than the 49ers falling to the Cardinals and the Seahawks falling to the Giants. Both teams with just a ton of momentum going into Thursday night. Both fan bases, I'm sure, are really looking forward to it after Sunday. But no, listen, yesterday happened, and we're here to talk about it. We're here hopefully to make you feel better if you're still feeling a little down about the loss yesterday. I know I don't think I need to say it. I wasn't too happy, Jason, about the second half of the first half was fun. We had a lot of fun at the first half. First half was very, very cool. Second half was much more miserable, and I hated it, and it sucked. But we're here to talk about it and try and make you feel better. We're going to maybe even try and make ourselves feel a little better about it because that's just a tough one to take. So, Jason, I'm going to let you start. I'm going to let you start with your first thing you brought to the table today on the Sprint Ride Option podcast. What was your biggest takeaway from the 49ers loss to the Arizona Cardinals yesterday?
They haven't fixed anything through 5 weeks. Not a thing. Nothing. And everyone is waiting for me to blow up about, if they had the field goal kicker. No. Jake Moody being there would have likely led to a 49ers win. Mm-hmm. But it still masks the issues that the 49ers have in the red zone. They are 30th in the NFL in red zone efficiency. And it's 5 weeks now. This isn't a small sample size. This is now a trend. This is now who they might be. And that is far more disturbing than anything. Yes, the 49ers could have left this game with a win if they had a kicker. For sure. But that doesn't change the fact that they're 1 for 6 in the red zone, and they were doing that when Jake Moody was there. I don't want Jake Moody to be any part of this conversation. Jake Moody isn't a bad tackler. Jake Moody is not the reason that the 49ers are not getting things done in the red zone. In fact, I would argue Jake Moody is part of masking the 49ers issues because you walk away with points when you have a kicker.
Yeah.
So red zone efficiency, 5 straight weeks, not a trend, not a blip on the radar. This is who they are right now, and it's a problem. That's my first thing.
I something that just touches on the red zone efficiency thing because that's really the biggest thing I took away from it as well. What's unacceptable to me is a 28-yard field goal attempt. How about a 20-yard field goal? A 20-yard field goal attempt means you're 2 yards away from the end zone. A 26-yard field goal attempt. Like, if Kyle Shanahan is this offensive genius, which he is, I'm not taking any of it away. Why are these final 20 yards so difficult? And I think the easy answer is Christian McCaffrey. I think that's the easy answer because Christian McCaffrey, well, yes, you're getting that production out of the run game from Jordan Mason. We'll talk about that in a little bit because we're on some history watch with Jordan Mason through the first 5 weeks of the season. He bridges that gap of an in-between player of, hey, he can also catch passes. He's very good in that space. Like I haven't really looked. I mean, I watched the game, obviously. I watched the highlights. I haven't seen it. I haven't watched the film too much. I just, why isn't Deebo Samuel being used more as a running back out of the backfield in
or
the
at
red
all
zone?
in anything?
Or even anything. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just talking that final 20 yards because the point of having Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey is you have two of the same type of players. It's just this, dude. The Niners are second in the NFL in yards per game right now, Jason.
I know.
And it's not like they can't get yards. They You mentioned they have the third worst red zone efficiency. They have 22 red zone drives this year. That's the second most in the NFL. The four other teams in the bottom five of the red zone efficiency are the Denver Broncos, the Atlanta Falcons, New England Patriots, and the Miami Dolphins. The Broncos have 16 red zone attempts. The Falcons have 14. The Patriots have 13, and the Dolphins have 11. The Niners have 22 red zone attempts and 9 touchdowns to show for it. And that, again, easiest answer is Christian McCaffrey's gone, but I just don't understand how Kyle Shanahan, the offensive mastermind, cannot figure out the final 20 yards of a football field with the weapons he has, not named Christian McCaffrey. And that's where I get a little lost.
Andrew, I speak to a lot of, I went to a bar last night. I speak to a lot of other teams that are a lot of fans of other teams. And I look at their weapons and I think, how many teams would kill to have just Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle? How many teams? Almost everybody. Mm-hmm. And I have a hard time understanding this problem because, yes, it felt like, hey, the key to everything is just give 23 the ball. Put it in his belly, just get ahead, right? Still, you got the best tight end in football. You have the guy that everyone is chasing in the draft. Everyone that drafts anybody who's ever taken an end around one time in college is Deebo. And you've got Brandon Ayuk, who finally broke out this week. I mean, let me take my victory lap. I told you, stone cold like lock. You know how many teams would kill for that? You know how many teams look around at their weapons and they're like, oh, shit, man, we got to run Alan Lazard behind Garrett Wilson and, or, oh, shit, we have Ladd McConkey and, and this guy and, man, we have Naylor behind like Addison. Like, do you understand? This is the part that I don't have a gripe with 49ers fans for being upset about. How many all-pros do you need? And one all-pro not being there shouldn't be the reason that you are this inefficient in the red zone. Now, what's the answer? It's play calling, it's execution. And there's something in the middle. Because the play call could be right, but you didn't execute it right. The play call could be wrong, and you tried your best, and it just wasn't the right thing. It's somewhere in the middle. The problem is, don't cry and poo-poo to me about missing Christian McCaffrey when you have all of these weapons. There's no excuse. None. Mm-hmm. And I'm not letting anybody off the hook. This entire podcast is about accountability. Mm-hmm. And everybody gets a share of this one. Everyone is going to get it. And Kyle Shanahan, you're a part of this, buddy. We love you, man. But I'm not letting you off the hook in this one. Sorry.
No. And I know you just said you're not letting Shanahan off the hook, but let me talk to you about, you mentioned some of it's execution and some of it's the right play call, but there's the wrong execution. Out of all the plays that happened yesterday, I know I posted the Devondre Campbell batting the ball down with Fred Warner right behind him for the pick. Good I know I posted that, but the play that's ran in my head the most is second quarter, 7:51, 2nd and 5 at the 5, so 2nd and goal. Purdy finds Kittle in the flat, and it should be a walk-in touchdown. It's it's a touch high. Kittle has to stop. Doesn't even really get the chance to stick the ball out. Purdy throws an incompletion in the next play. 4th and 2, they kick the 20-yard field goal to give them a lead. But there's so many little plays in this game where it's like, okay, instead of the Niners taking 3 and getting 4, they win the game. That's the one. Like it's that stuff. It's just. And that kind of leads into my first point that I want to talk to. So look at this little transition. Purdy was a little too erratic for me yesterday.
Yes.
I also posted earlier today on Twitter. The Cardinals entered Week 5 with 42 pressures as a team. That was the fewest entering Week 5. The Arizona Cardinals alone on Sunday had 21 pressures. They had
What a number.
half of their total of pressures entering Week 5 in Week 5 alone. And I got a lot of responses of like, oh, the Niners offensive line. This is why you need to fix the Niners offensive line. And I'm not trying to say the Niners offensive line didn't have the best day. I don't think they had that bad of a day.
Say it, Andrew.
Oh man, the comparison I made at NinersNation.com. Hey, we were right there. You remember the Michael Vick experience commercials?
Mm-hmm.
The Brock Purdy experience commercial just gives you nausea. It makes you a little sick to your stomach running around in the backfield. And there are times where it works. There's times where it works, and that's totally fine. There's times he scrambles for 6 yards. There's times he hits the over underdog 5.5 yards per game. All that stuff. But then there's times where he's running around the backfield, doesn't throw it away. He tries to force the ball, which happens, whatever. But then the situation, like, I don't know, a 2nd and 14 in field goal range, but you don't have a kicker anymore. You probably don't want to lose yardage because a 3rd and 14, a 4th and 14 is already long as it is. Purdy scrambles. Fox clocked it at 11 seconds, just running around in the backfield, and he takes the sack to make it a 3rd and 23. They can't get it, so it's a 4th and 23 now. And it's just, he can't do that. And so this was really the first game of the 2024 season where I feel like he regressed in a way. But it wasn't necessarily his arm. The interception sucked. Like, the interception sucked because the first interception, got a little happy feet because if I remember correctly, he had a semi-clean pocket, and it's only like he panicked and then he stepped up and threw the tip. But at some point, man, extending the play is cool and all, but 5-6 seconds, like, you got to get rid of it or you got to run down the field. We can't have 11-second sacks. And so I know a lot of people saw that stat of like, hey, the Cardinals had 21 pressures. The Niners offensive line was responsible for 12 of those pressures. So Arizona had 21 pressures. The Niners offensive line allowed 12. One was George Kittle, so 13 as a team. That leaves 8 pressures, and some of it could be 2 pressures on one play. Absolutely. But there was at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 where it was Purdy just not making a decision, trying to extend the play too long. And there are instances where it works and it's beautiful and it's fun and we enjoy it. But in a situation where he takes a sack on a 3rd and 14 and it makes it a 4th and 23, you don't have a kicker, that's really bad. So the Brock Purdy experience, we've enjoyed it the past couple of weeks. Let's hone it in a little bit now, Purdy. Let's keep it a little more on schedule.
Yeah, and then let's take it a step further. The final interception. Obviously you see the blitz and everybody's looking at like who missed the block, but it was Brock Purdy who Kyle Shanahan said he's got to get off of Brandon Ayuk earlier and get that thing to George Kittle earlier, and he agreed. Look, for as much as we've said that, I've been on here saying that I thought that Brock Purdy was playing the best football of his career. I still think that that's true, even after this one game. He didn't play his best game. It's not anything other than the objective facts.
Yeah.
And when you watch the film and you watch it and you watch him, run around, do all those things, we like it when it works. It's all right. Here's the comparison. The no throws is something, right? But it's almost like when he's running around, we're like, and we're kind of hoping that's the stuff. Like when he throws a football from the pocket, I'm not scared of what's going to happen when it leaves the screen. But when he's running around and doing all that stuff and he throws, that's a little bit scary. I think there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brock wasn't up to snuff. I've got a lot to say. I've got a lot to say about a lot of people. Brock didn't play up to snuff. I think he knows that. But at the same time, there's a reason that this offense is controlled. There's a reason that there's time when, you have to get the ball out quickly. There's a reason. And that's the reason. You don't want it to be like that. Oh my God, please get out. Please get out. Oh, sorry. Aaron Judge just hit it to the wall. But yeah, I think, again, this wasn't Brock's best performance.
No.
But Brock is far from the only reason the 49ers absolutely collapsed on Sunday.
No. Yeah, no, and that's my thing. And like my thing with the plays were pretty chaos in the backfield. Like I've never been disappointed in a chaotic play in the backfield that ended in a throwaway. Like it's not like you want something exciting to happen, but it's just one of those where it's like, oh, okay, threw it away, whatever. Like no harm, no foul. It's just you cannot take a sack in that situation with no kicker. 3rd and 14 is already hard enough, and so it's just that it's. I think there's an argument to be made that Purdy is one of the reasons the Niners lost. And that's fine because he's not the reason they lost. They had plenty of other reasons they lost that game yesterday. And Jason, I'm sure we're going to talk about them. But it's just he needs to hone it in. I know the playmaking ability is there. He is absolutely one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. It's just at some point, man, like the game situation has to be involved. You cannot take a sack in that situation. And then there was the bad throws too. Let's be honest. There was that, as I said, the Kittle throw. He had one to Jawan Jennings where Jennings had the safety beat for a touchdown and it just hung up just a little bit. He had to come back. It's just things like that. Hone it in. He's still a 3rd-year quarterback. Like he's still growing and we're seeing it. There's going to be games like this where it's not perfect, but like, it's fine. Like in the scope of things, it's fine. Like everything's not great. 2 and 3, not great. But in terms of Purdy's performance, I think that's the one thing we can really take away and say it's fine. We'll be fine.
I'm less worried about that than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. So Jason, we got red zone. We got Brock Purdy.
Run.
We got action. We got action. John Carlo. Yeah. I'm a little behind you. Jason's watching our Yankees.
Let's go.
That's a base hit. Oh, gets through Bobby Witt. Yankees up 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. Good throw would have had him. But you had the red zone. I had Brock Purdy. Jason, what's your second thing you took away from the Niners loss yesterday?
Mooney Ward. Look, I'm not gonna mince words, man. I am really not gonna mince words with the Mooney Ward thing. And I'm so glad that Mooney Ward took accountability at the end of this game and literally told Mike Silver, I am playing the worst ball of my career because it let me know that I'm not crazy. If Diamador Lenore is your best secondary member, that's not necessarily the worst thing, right? Because he's an ascending youngster and he's somebody who, we all think the world of. But Mooney Ward, where the fuck are you right now, man? What planet are you on? And I want to say this by saying that a lot of this has to probably do with, the way that Sorensen's running his defense and everything as well, too. But my God, I need to set my watch to you. I need to set my watch to you and say, I'm fine. I know. The secondary as a whole, the safeties, I love you, Jair Brown. We got issues, man. Hufanga, whatever. He got injured. I'm not going to talk to, but Malik Mustafa, he missed 2 tackles, but for what it's worth, he didn't give up any catches. I just want to say that to say this. If we're going to have people miss tackles, if we're going to have problems with people in coverage, if we're going to have issues where they become a target, then play the youngsters. Then play the youngsters. Because why am I putting you out there as safety so this is a secondary argument. It's all secondary. Why do I care whether you are the veteran when everyone picks on you? Why do I care about that? Why is it that you've been in this league for how long and the zone read has you running right up to the line, acting like you've never seen it once in your life? And Kyler Murray's pointing before he even leaves the line of scrimmage because he knows he's got a tug. If we're going to have those mistakes, then give it to the youngsters. Let the youngsters make the mistakes, because if I got the veteran in there, you shouldn't be making those mistakes. Yeah. And Mooney Ward, star players do star things, and you got to start Thursday, right away, because that's your test. Where are you? And I'm glad that you said it, and I love that you took accountability. I think that's beautiful. But you want to get paid? You want to get paid or you want to go home? You haven't been anywhere near what you've been. And I wrote a whole article about the secondary on NinersNation.com. But I don't know if you guys know that we both write for them. Mooney Ward, secondary, figure it out. You guys are killing me right now. All of you are killing me, aside from Diamandola North.
Yeah, and it's been really the big play that's been hurting Charvarius Ward. I mean, he had the big play he allowed in the Rams game, or what was one of those losses, and now it's the same thing with
almost like you're not listening. Almost like you're not listening. Almost like you're not listening. Almost like you're not listening.
We already addressed that, but
almost
no,
like
but
you're not listening.
It's just yeah, man. There's certain things you can set. You should be able to set the 49ers defense to. And this is going to divulge into my second thing too. So we'll kind of combine second things here. You focus on the secondary. Usually you could set your watch to Nick Bosa. You could set your watch to the Niners pass rush. Niners pass rush was where yesterday? 9 total pressures. Obviously the run, which is a read option. That's not necessarily a pressure. But Nick Bosa had 2 pressures yesterday. Leonard Floyd had 3 and a sack. And again, like I think – I think my opinion on it is that last week I so badly wanted to believe that, okay, yeah, it was the Patriots. It was good to see. I wanted to believe that the Niners had figured it out, but they didn't. And so yes, Jason, we should be able to set our watch to Charvarius Ward locking down his side of the field. We should be able to set our watch to Nick Bosa getting in the backfield consistently every game. The Niners defense as a whole, Jason. And that's the point. It's just not there. Something's not there. What it is, I don't know. I don't know because I think the issue is it's a little bit of everything because if your name's not Fred Warner, like what are we doing? What are we doing right now on this defense? And that's the tough part. And there's the little mistakes too. I mean, and it ended up not being a big little mistake, but like the Sammy O pass, roughing the passer, hitting the helmet of Kyler Murray, allowing them to get an extra yard to go for a 2-point conversion. Now all of a sudden they're down 2. A field goal gives you the lead instead of tying the game. Little things like that. This Niners defense needs to figure it out because Jason, we've talked about it so many times now. About getting these wins now. The schedule's about to get harder and there's a lot of offenses. So it's just a lot of good offenses coming up. The defense needs to figure it out, and they need to figure it out ideally Thursday because not just a Charvarius Ward challenge. The Niners defense as a whole needs to get it together. And that includes Ben Sorensen and Brandon Staley at the top.
Nick Sorensen, yeah, for sure. It feels like when you figure out one thing with this team right now through 5 weeks, something else goes wrong. And there's never been a time where it all clicks. Oh, we need the defensive line to step up. Okay, they do. Oh, but then the next week, the secondary gives up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got Brandon Ayuk rolling. All right. Now the offense goes stagnant. This is what's frustrating about this is you figure one thing out, you got it rolling, and then you're like, oh shit, something else is wrong. But yeah, this loss is so frustrating to break down. And I guess the only good news is that you can give the blame all around. Yeah. Right? There's not one singular play that you can look at in this game and say, there it is. It's everybody. Like, I don't get that part, man. I really don't get it.
No, and it's like basic shit too. Like, how many tackles did they miss yesterday? The game turned around because the 49ers somehow went into the locker room at halftime and decided we're just going to forget how to tackle James Conner. Like, the Niners did so good against James Conner in that first half, and that's why Arizona only had 10 points. Like, yeah, they got the big touchdown, but their offense wasn't doing anything. And then in the second half, like, yeah, they only got 14 points in the set. Like, it's just like the offense was so good in the first half, and the defense was playing fine enough to win the game. And I feel bad because I texted you at halftime, hey, halfway to 48 points. Like, look at this. Let's go. And then it's like in the second half, you're like, okay, offense, you stop doing things. Defense, you stop tackling James Conner. And let's see what happens. Let's see if we can win this game. And it's not a recipe to win football games. Missing tackles is the number one thing that annoys me in the NFL because like it's the NFL. You should not be missing tackles, and yet here we are again. Like wasn't that the issue in the first few years of Kyle Shanahan when they were really bad? It's that they couldn't tackle and they were leading the league in missed tackles the first few years under Shanahan. And here we are talking missed tackles again. And it's just another thing with this defense that just can't seem to figure it out.
The problem is this more than anything is it was a matter of will. And it just felt like, oh, it's hot. Poor us. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, all right, look. In 2019, the San Francisco 49ers opened up in week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was there.
Mm-hmm.
It was 3,000 fucking degrees there. I was there. And there was no sun, and there was no shade, nothing.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear the heat thing. Grow up.
No, yeah.
You're professional football players. Stop crying about the heat. I went to that game. I sat there. I baked. I was in there. I baked. I didn't move. I know I'm not playing football. Y'all professional athletes. What you want? Everything to be perfect all the time? You want it to be always comfortable weather? Oh, you can't deal with the heat? I don't want to hear that. I know Arizona's used to it. They practice in triple-digit weather because it's Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
The heat's absolutely not an excuse.
No.
That's a stupid cop-out.
No, it looked like one team wanted to win the game in the second half and the other wanted to lose. And it's essentially, I said NinersNation.com, Niners snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory yesterday, and that's just what it was. And that's just is what it is. So, Jason, we got the defense out of the way. We got the red zone. We got Purdy. Third and final thing, what you got? Let's talk about it.
All right. Kyle Shanahan.
Okay. See it.
It's time, man. You got to explain this shit to me like I'm 5. Explain it to me like I'm 5. I will say this. In my post-game rant, I was really, really upset. And I thought that Kyle was going to go up to the press conference and he was going to say, we're going to watch the film, you don't know ball, and condescend. No. He said, this is extremely frustrating. We can't let this happen. Okay. I'll accept that. But why? Why? And you know what's crazy about it? Different defensive coordinators, different quarterbacks, different teams. I love you, Kyle. You aren't going anywhere. I don't want you to go anywhere. But why? 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 And why is it that no matter what, you always feel uneasy when you have a lead? Why? So this is my question to Kyle Shanahan. If I, put my hand up, he points to me at the press conference. Kyle, why do you feel like during your entire tenure as a 49ers coach, you continue to lose leads? And you can point to circumstances. You could point to bad luck. You could point to this. You could point to that. I thought it was Steve's. What's the common denominator? Kyle Shanahan, I love you, man. Kyle Shanahan, I think you're a top 5 bona fide coach. Kyle Shanahan, I think that if there was a way that you weren't the 49ers coach, that other teams would fire their coach immediately and bring you in. Kyle Shanahan, I think you are one of the brightest offensive minds in football. And if not, tell me I'm wrong because everyone's running your shit. But Kyle Shanahan, explain to me why. Why? No matter the team, no matter the opponent, no matter the quarterback, no matter your defensive coordinator, why? Why on earth is it that you can never hold any of these leads? I don't get it. I still don't get it. I don't think I'll ever get an answer. I don't think there is a good answer. But why? And that's all I got to say. Why?
It's weird because it's just the vibe thing is so weird. And that's my thing. It feels like with a team as talented as this team, like the vibe should not be this bad around this. And I don't know if that's necessarily a Kyle thing or not. I do know that I want to say it was Doc Rivers, some coach, said he doesn't like staying at one place too long after 8, 9, 10 years. Your your voice kind of gets lost in the locker room a little bit. We're at year 7 with Kyle Shanahan, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, Josh Dubow had the stat today. Thank you, Gorge Von Jinx. 18 times Kyle has choked away a 10-plus point lead. This is final proof Kyle
Do you
is.
know who was
See,
second? Did you see the
what was
stat?
that?
Do you know who was
What was
second?
that?
Do you know who was
It
second?
was Walsh at 8, I believe, right?
Yeah.
That was Walsh at 8. So I'll see if I can pull up the stat really quick. But it's just like
It
I
was
kind of
Walsh
want to
at
make I kind of want to make the joke though, Georgia. Like you say, that it's proof Kyle isn't it, but like he's good enough to get the 10-point lead in the first place. So like there's something there, right? Like there's something there. It's just it's strange. It's this weird thing because you would think a 10-point lead would be enough for not just an offense this good, but a defense allegedly this good. Most losses in regular season and playoffs for a coach in 49ers history after leading a game by 10-plus points. Kyle Shanahan, 18. Bill Walsh, 8. Dick Nolan, 8. Steve Mariucci, 6. Buck Shaw, 6. There you go. It's just it's this strange thing, man. And then I don't know. I just don't know how to write it off because it's just very very weird, right? It's unexplainable almost. And maybe that's why Kyle hasn't given us the answer because he doesn't have an answer. Because like, how do you explain it? Like, how do you explain it? Like, how do you fix a team not being able to hold the 10-point lead? Because you just think that's a natural thing.
It should usually just happen that way. Keith Murphy says, I almost said Keith Murray. I'm thinking of Death Squad. Not having a kicker felt eerily like NFC Chip without QBs, but we're terrible in coverage on special teams, which is why our kicker is making tackles. None of this game has to do with Jake Moody. None of it. And again, like the way that I was explaining earlier, Jake Moody was merely masking a bigger issue.
Yes.
And yes, you probably win this game if you have a kicker, but it doesn't change the fact that you're not converting in the red zone. Moody's the fail-safe, the safety net.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be relying on him. You're not going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs with field goals. You're not going to win a big playoff game with field goals. You literally went from the number 1 red zone offense last season to number 30. That has nothing to do with having a kicker available, and it has nothing to do with whether he was available to kick at all.
Yeah. So that's a good time to pivot to my third thing that I'm going to bring up, the special teams, because it needs to be talked about. I'm not putting any blame on Jake Moody. It needs to be talked about in the sense of how much it changed the outcome of this game, right? Because yes, I understand the red zone stuff right before it, all that stuff, but the Niners had to go for a 4th and 23. That would have been a field goal. Would have been a field goal attempt. It would have been a 45-ish yard field goal, which I know we like to joke on Moody. He's been very consistent on kicks that haven't decided games yet. He's been fine. So that's a situation where you could have used Jake Moody. But then how many games in NFL history, Jason, have been a 1-point game with time expiring and the team with the ball is trailing by 1 and it's a must-score touchdown situation? And that's where the game changes. And so I don't really have a point to throw out there with mentioning it. It's almost like the football gods are fucking with us. And that's the best way I can say it. Because before that kickoff, Jason, for the first time since Lambeau Field in Green Bay in the playoff game, special teams made me feel warm and fuzzy inside because Jordan Elliott got his big paw on the ball, and the Niners returned a kick for a touchdown. Deommodore Lenoir picked it up, and we're celebrating because that is the biggest reaction I've had for a play this season because it was so unexpected. Because I am trained that when 49ers special teams is on the field, nothing good ever happens, and when it finally happens, you're shocked. And then 5 minutes later, dude, not Moody's fault. Not like it happens. It's a football play, man.
Kyle said the same thing that it's not what you want, but he had to do that.
It's either that or it's a touchdown. And it's a totally different thing. I don't know, man. I guess my way of saying is yesterday's game, with all the little things that could have gone one way or another, that did not go for the Niners. Moody hurting his ankle, Purdy missing a couple throws, the Devontae Campbell batting the ball down at the with Warner behind him. Yesterday was the first vibe of maybe this just isn't the year. It's week
Maybe.
5. I don't want to make that, and I will say it right now. I have that take way too early. This is week 5 of the NFL season. The Niners have come back from worse spots later in the season and all that stuff. It's just the way that game happened. It's not just the red zone. It's not just Purdy. It's not just all the bad things that actually happened. It's all those little plays that could have gone one way or another that didn't go the Niners' way. And that almost gets me concerned. Does that make sense?
No, I know what you mean. It's just almost like reading the leaves, right? Reading the tea leaves. It's but
if the Mets are the team of destiny for how much they're coming back in their games, like the Niners are almost the opposite of that right now.
The opposite.
Because of all because like there's a case, Jason, where we are talking October 7th. If you flip like 5 plays this season, we're talking about a 5-0 49ers team going into Seattle. Like, what are we like? And that's the maddening thing is it's not like last year where it was they got shit pumped by the Browns. I guess that's a missed field goal, but they got beat by the Bengals in that stretch, and they were never close, and those games never felt close. Like the Niners have played 5 winnable games, and they've won 2 of them, and that's a concern.
Yeah, I think almost I would feel better if the 49ers were just blown out. Like,
yes.
What's frustrating about this is the 49ers have not once been beaten or gotten their ass whipped by an opposing roster. Have you been out coached? Have you been out effort? Have you been? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you didn't get your doors blown off. Like you weren't even belonging on the field. So that's what makes this so frustrating.
Yeah.
And then Kyle Juszczyk stole my favorite saying. And I always say this, on this podcast and to anybody. Kyle Juszczyk looked in the camera and he said, if you would have told me that we would have a blocked field goal for a touchdown, I would have said, how much do we win by? Yeah. Bottom line. The San Francisco 49ers scored 23 points. 7 were on the back end of a special teams block kick return touchdown. That is 103,004,000,000% unacceptable from this offense facing a defense bottom of the league at running, bottom of the league against pass. Unacceptable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just an unacceptable game as a whole.
Special teams giveth, special teams taketh.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for Jake Moody. It sucks.
And it's kind of weird though because special teams taketh, but it's not even really a way you can get angry at. It's just it happened, and there's nothing you can do about it, and that's what sucks. So, Jason, we're here. We got the 3 stars. I'm gonna be honest. I struggle.
I've got 3 stars.
You got 3 stars. I want to hear your number 3 star. Then let's start with 3 stars. Who is Jason Aponte's number 3 star?
Diamador Lenore. 1 catch allowed for 0 yards. I mean, you are the star of this secondary right now. You are the shiny beacon of this secondary. It's not a problem that you're performing as the best. It's a problem that your running mate is performing at his worst. Mm-hmm. He literally told Mike Silver, this is the worst ball I've ever played in my career. But Diamador Lenore, you can't control that. All you can control is who you are and what you do. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Diamador Lenore, thank you. I appreciate
you. My number 3 star, Jordan Elliott. Just for getting his paw on that ball. I felt so much emotions in that one play because special teams did something. I thought the game was over. Like I thought the game was over in that moment because I thought the Niners would just take that momentum and run with it. Jordan Elliott for making a special teams play alone is my number 3 star.
Love that. Number 2 star. Shit, I don't even want to use him. God, this is tough. Malik Mustafa. Malik Mustafa. Okay. You know why? Malik Mustafa gets thrust into it. Obviously, he has the 2 missed tackles. That's fine. 0 catches allowed on 3 targets. If we're going to have the missteps, if we're going to have players out of position, if we're going to have the growing pains, then let it be Malik. Then let it be Malik. I'm sorry. Let it be Malik Mustafa. I cannot sit here and accept issues with veterans. If you're a veteran and you're out of place, Talanoa Hufanga, I know you're injured. I can't accept that shit. Yeah. Can I accept it with someone that we haven't seen? Absolutely. You know why? Growing pains. Who's going to grow? Hufanga, that's been happening more and more and more and more. And everyone wants to yell at us because we're big Jaquaski Tart guys, right? Everyone wants to yell at us about Hufanga. That shit happened more often than not, even in that all-pro year. And everyone let it slide because the beginning of the year, he had a bunch of interceptions. Mm-hmm. Play Malik Mustafa, play D. Winters. I'll live with the bumps and bruises if they're rookies. If you're a veteran and you are out of position and you are getting whipped, get the fuck off the field. Malik Mustafa, my number 2 star.
My number 2 star is your number 3 star, Diamador Lenore, for all the reasons for you listed. And Jason, I don't know if you've mentioned that special teams touchdown was really cool. I cannot underestimate how cool that special teams touchdown was. So Jordan Elliott, Diamador Lenore, welcome to the 3 stars because of a special teams play. We did it. We love it. Special teams, a lot of shout outs today. But Diamador Lenore, man, like you mentioned with Charvarius Ward struggles, like you know how sick it would be if Charvarius Ward was playing to his 2023 level and you had Diamador Lenore?
Or just average.
Yeah. Yeah. It just would have been nice. And then here we are, man. It's just Diamador Lenore getting on the 3 stars for special teams. So there we go. Jason, I think I know who your number 1 star is. Can we do the 1, 2, 3?
Go for it.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Brandon
Ayuk.
Go ahead, Brandon. Or Brandon, you're Jason, not Brandon.
Nah, Jason, I wish. Let's go, Brandon. Look, man. Oh my God. We're talking about look. All right. Now I'm gonna get mad. Now I'm gonna get really mad, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh my God, where's Brandon Ayuk? Where's 147 yards and you still only score 16 points on offense? Yep. The Brandon Ayuk game, Ray Charles saw that shit coming. Don't look at me and say, oh, you know, Jason called it or whatever. The Cardinals had the worst secondary in football. Brandon Ayuk did exactly what he was going to do against them. The breakout was there. And yet, if I would have told you that Brandon Ayuk was going to have 147 yards, you would have said the Niners would have scored 40 points. You wasted Brandon Ayuk's masterclass. Brandon Ayuk, no one's going to talk about how well you played because there's too many other things to point out that went wrong. Mm-hmm. But I want everybody to shut the hell up about trading Brandon Ayuk for this guy, for that guy. Enough. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he was rounding into shape. Obviously, against tougher situations and tougher matchups, it was going to be like that. Christian Gonzalez is a very good corner, and I said that the entire week. This is going to be very interesting how people take this game. But Brandon Ayuk is still that guy. Hello, Brandon Ayuk. Glad to see you, buddy. Welcome to the party. Now let's do it again in Seattle. But man, 147 yards and you only score 16 points on offense. Absolutely. Yep. Unacceptable on all fronts by everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he only had 2 receptions against the Patriots last week, but all I needed to see was that 38-yard catch he had to catch and run. And I said he's back, and he just showed that yesterday. And now it's about getting all the pieces to work together because it's not working. And Jason, the offense scored 16 points with Brandon Ayuk having 147 yards, or 100 whatever yards it was, you said. I cannot believe it. It's unfathomable because it's just so much of this was, well, the offense looks good. Where's Brandon Ayuk? Okay, Brandon Ayuk showed up. Where's the offense? What happened? So I don't know, man. It's a bummer that Brandon Ayuk had that game and that had to happen. But here we are, Brandon Ayuk, number 1 star, Niners 2-3 is what it is. Short week this week, Jason. We're going to be back on Thursday. Are we double dipping Thursday?
I mean, that makes sense. I'm just like, everybody talks about the short weeks for players. This content stuff is crazy. Like having to write and then do everything else and put it all together. I'm not complaining. Yeah. Because it's pretty cool that we get to have Sunday football off.
But man,
imagine that.
These weeks are pretty busy though.
But tomorrow, Bully Ball, maybe Peacock and Aponte. Wednesday, State of the Franchise. Thursday, Sprint Right Option. Thursday, Instant Reaction. Friday, Sprint Right Option. Man,
well, I was thinking, I was thinking Instant Reaction, Sprint Right Option pod.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I was thinking double dip for Thursday.
Hell yeah. Perfect. And then we get Friday off and we just get to chill.
We just get to chill and hang out and do nothing. I think that works with me.
Look, overall, the San Francisco 49ers are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Given the NFC landscape. Let's make sure that we get it clear. If I sound frustrated, I'm frustrated with this performance because it was an easily winnable game. It's not like Arizona came in here and whipped your ass.
No.
If that's the case, then I'm just going to pop on the tape and I'm just watching a team that's overpowered.
Yep.
That was not the case at any point until the end of the game, especially on defense.
Yeah.
The 49ers are too good. The 49ers are going to get too many reinforcements to not be here.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. And you know what? Dusty Ghost says no number one seed? Probably. Because Minnesota's 5-0. They're going to be undefeated going into next week because they're on a bye. Detroit looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have lost 2 NFC West division games. But I'll tell you what. Arizona loses. The 49ers win. They're back in first place.
Yeah.
And they'll win the division. And then after that, it's all bets are off if we get in the playoffs because then the 49ers become that team that they've always been all the time, the team that you do not want to play.
No.
None of you.
No.
You can have the number one seed. The 49ers have not had the number one seed. I hate to rely on other teams and history, but I believe too much in this team to allow it to go to hell like this. Seattle stinks. Arizona stinks. The Rams stink. Not worried about it. So we'll be fine. But if I sound pissed off, I'm pissed off about what just happened this game that you allowed to happen, and now your schedule gets exponentially tougher.
Yeah,
that's all.
And you made that point, and it's just it's just such a frustrating game. It's just such a frustrating game, and you got to remember last year is almost like the outlier where the Niners started 5-0. The 5-0 starts the outlier of the Shanahan era because it's all been slow starts. So it's almost like we're back to that. This is just such a frustrating game. It's a game you shouldn't lose. And just as important as 0-2 in division, Niners are 0-3 in conference. The only two wins have been against AFC teams. So we'll see what happens. They might be screwing themselves on tiebreakers in the future. All that matters, though, is this team gets in the top 7 of the NFC, and that should happen, barring a lot of weirdness. But we've seen a lot of weirdness in the first 5 games. We'll see.
Andrew?
Yes.
You want a silver lining? You want something that's really nice? I mean, the Yankees are down 4-1 now in the 4th.
I would like your silver lining. I'll take your silver lining.
You ready?
Yes.
Thursday is about to be the most aesthetically pleasing jersey matchup in the history of NFL football. Anyone who it doesn't matter if you're a 49ers fan or a Seahawks fan, it doesn't matter if you hate both of them. The white 94 throwbacks against the 80s Seahawks jerseys are going to feed families. That is absolutely something that I have been waiting for. And it's the only thing that's really got me excited about watching this.
You know what, Jason? I was really bummed out about the loss yesterday, but now I'm excited for Thursday. Just for that matchup. The Seahawks got to go back to. Let's end on that note. Let's end on that strong note.
Let's do this.
Panic meter is on 0. Thank you, Keith Murphy. Niner fans spoiled. This year, we got to grip it out, similar to 2021. I'm along for the ride.
We're going to be fine.
Perfect. Yeah, they'll be fine.
Not an issue. But the jerseys, and shout out to you, Keith. Thank you for the donations. But the jerseys.
Jerseys all that matters.
Jerseys. Oh,
God.
It's going to feed families. God, it's like.
They're hitting hard. They're hitting hard.
That's that's the greatest jersey matchup in the history of the NFL.
Yes.
And it's crazy. It's on the back of the Broncos throwbacks that they just wore against them. Oh my God.
Heat. Wait till the Eagles break out the Kelly Greens later in the season. Now we're talking. Ooh. It's kind of crazy. We're working so far into the future just to go back in time for all the good jerseys. So, Jason, Yankees got some work to do. I'll let you get back to that. It's been fun. Derpy Seahawk unis versus 94 white throwbacks. We love it. Thursday, we'll talk to you. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners. We'll get this shit back, but I'm pissed off today, and that's it. And you guys should be too.
I hate it. It's stupid. Division games, we hate them all. Football is back Thursday,
though. Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.